Hi! Welcome to my garden. My name is Becca, and this is my passion channel, Xcaret Forever. If you don't know what Xcaret is, it's a series of parks and hotels south of Cancun in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And it is the most amazing and magical cool set of eco-archaeological theme parks and hotels that you have ever seen or will ever see in your entire life. So come with me and hang out in my garden while I talk about one of the most common things you'll read about Xcaret on the internet, which is comparing Xcaret to Disney World. So one of the reasons that I think people, one of the primary reasons that I think people say that Xcaret is the Disney World of Mexico is I believe that they're making a direct comparison to the way that the hotels and the parks are intertwined with each other. And that when you go to Disney World, if you've ever been, which we love, if you stay in one of the Disney hotels, it's essentially intertwined with the parks. Your transportation to and from the parks is made easy. Your admission to and from the parks is easier. It's seamless with your hotel entry, and all of that is true at Xcaret. So I think that that's the first thing that people mean when they try to link these two things in your mind. They really want you to understand that if you are staying at the hotel, then your experience of the park is enhanced. And I would say that that is true. And that you have easier access to the parks, free transport to the parks, no parking at the parks, fees, because you have these constant every 20-minute buses or daily buses depending on which park you're staying at. But it's a constant flow of free access to the parks when you're staying at the hotels. And so I think that's one of the first things that maybe people mean when they draw that comparison, is this idea that the parks and the hotels are interwoven and your experience is enhanced when you stay at both. So I think that's the primary thing that people mean. But I think another way that Xcaret is often viewed as being like Disney, that is extremely valid and highly comparable, is that the quality of shows that they produce, their performers, the music, the lighting, the sound, the costumes are Disney quality. None of it has to do with Disney characters or Disney stories. It's all completely about Mexico, Mexican culture, Mexican history, dance, music, regions, whatever it is in that specific area that we're educating on. That is going to be the topic in Xcaret. It's going to be something to do with Mexico. It's one of the reasons I love being there. It's just an immersive experience. And just know that even when you're in the hotels and when you're walking around, especially the Xcaret Arte, but also the hotel Xcaret Mexico, that you're going to be seeing Disney caliber performers everywhere, singing, playing their instruments, and dancing, being present, and showcasing Mexican culture in a way that you've never experienced up close and personal. Really makes the visit special. I think the other thing that people really mean when they're saying that is that when you are at Xcaret, you're having an immersive experience like you do at Disney World. You feel like you're in another world. And this other world is nothing like Disney World, right? It's completely different. It's more connection with nature, more connection with plants, animals, water, and whatever park you're in, the experience is a little bit different, right? What you're connecting with. But it is immersive nonetheless. If you're in the Xcaret Park and you go into the Orchid and Bromeliad Museum, you feel like you actually walk deep into the jungle until you get to the greenhouse with the orchids and bromeliads all around you. And you are immersed in their life. And it's not a ride, right? But it is what I'd call an eco attraction. It's more exciting and immersive than a museum, which I also love. And they also have in Xcaret. But it's not as exciting as a theme park ride as far as thrills and adrenaline, okay? So you're not gonna find a lot of characters there. The characters at Xcaret, you know, that's not really a thing. The center of Xcaret is the Mexican land, the Mexican animals, Mexican art, Mexican culture, Mexican dance, Mexican history. That is the center of what you're discovering at Xcaret is the different places that are special and unique in this part of Mexico and different ways to connect with them. So it's different, but there are similarities, and I can see why, especially when you see how the parks and the hotels and the admission to both are intertwined. People want to make the comparison. I think the other reason that you can really closely compare Xcaret and Disney is that there's no way one trip is going to allow you to see the whole thing. I think it's a well-recognized thing that if you plan a trip to Disney, you're going to be making some choices, right? Choices about what your kids will personally enjoy the most. Choices about what you personally must do because you flew all the way down there, right? And I think you're going to have that same experience when you're planning a trip to Xcaret. The most important thing I think that you can do when you're planning a trip to one of these larger theme park-like attractions is know what's there, know what's most important to you so that you don't leave feeling like you forgot to do something that was really important to you, or that you get home and read about something, you're like, I was just there and I missed out. So I think that that's another big overlap. There's just so much that if you're going to plan a trip to Xcaret or Disney, it's going to be extremely important that you put some research in. And that's one of the reasons I'm making this channel. Because what happened to me is the first time I went was by accident. I was on a day trip from Tulum, as you can see in one of my previous videos. If you want, I'll put that in the description. But the really big thing is that even when we went back, even with the resources I had to research our trip, there still were so many secrets, performances I didn't realize, you know, different experiences with the food and different things that I wish that I'd known going in. And so I wanted to make this channel as a resource over time to talk about Xcaret, what a special place it is. And I think that that's another thing that you can really see when any place gets compared to Disney World, which is a fabulous place. My husband and I collect Disney pins and are huge fans in that way. You know, but so when somebody compares something to Disney World, that makes a big impact on me. And now that I've had several trips to Xcaret, I think I'm really starting to zero in on why people make that comparison and what is sort of true about it, right? Here's what's not true about it, okay? There is not, aside from water slides, there's not really a thrill ride that I can detect at Xcaret and the zip lines, okay? You've got zip lines and water slides, which very much interact you with nature. You're touching the water, you're viewing the jungle, and these are really important parts of Xcaret. So I've yet to discover a place where you get inside a capsule and you pull down a safety part and it takes you on an experience. It's not that kind of theme park, okay? So I don't want people to be misled by the comparison. But it is the kind of theme park that transports you to another world, that takes you on a journey of connection to the earth, to the Mexican culture, to the Mayan people, exposes you to Mayan rituals and art, and they support animals. They have breeding and restoration programs for macaws, as well as other kinds of animals within Xcaret, but macaws is one of their biggest. So yeah, if you have any other comments, if you've been to Xcaret and you've been to Disney and you want to tell us what you think the similarities and differences are, please comment below. I can't wait to make more videos showing you guys about unique and special things that they have there and that we can discover. I'm really looking to gain some followers and have some interaction here with people who love Xcaret or who are thinking about going. And if you yourself want to know more about it, please feel free to comment down below with any questions you might have about why Xcaret and Disney might or might not be similar, and I'll be happy to have this discussion. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a beautiful day.